I want to ask you about the dating side of things. So you mentioned that, you get the wisdom from being slightly older. Dating has definitely changed for a younger generation to some degree in terms of the method. So obviously, like Tinder fucking blew up, and now
Mhm.
we have this new period of OnlyFans, and especially where I am, based in Asia, like lots of OnlyFans models everywhere you go.
Mhm.
Like that is to me that's severely impacted a male's perception of what a partner should be or what a partner could be. So when you find a partner, it's like, well, this promiscuous girl over here could have equally been my partner. I want to get your thoughts on like what you think the impact of like OnlyFans will be on males' perceptions.
OnlyFans is a recent phenomenon. It's funny you mentioned online dating and Tinder, and the phenomenon of meeting the opposite sex online isn't new. I met my ex-wife on a dating site called Lava Life, and there was dating sites that were even bigger than that around the time. Plenty of Fish, Lemon Tonic, I think. There's a lot of these dating sites in the early 2000s that just came out because the internet came out. It's like, sex sells. So obviously, dating and introduction online seemed to seemed to be like where it started to pick up. It wasn't until we had apps on mobile devices where you just swipe left and right, like Tinder and Bumble, that made things so much easier. Because we like easy, we like instant gratification, we like a quick and easy match and an opportunity to open on that very quickly. So to the point of OnlyFans, again, this is a more newer phenomenon that exists, and a lot of women use it today. What is OnlyFans? Is it prostitution? Not really, because they're generally not having sex with these guys. And let's be honest, these guys that are throwing money at women to subscribe to their OnlyFans to get pictures of their butthole or whatever they're getting, they're not society's best, right? They're not the kind of guys that these gals want to be with. They're just simps, and
Mhm.
all they're doing is they're throwing money at these girls and they're collecting it. And these guys are doing it under the hopes or the guise that maybe one day they can meet them, or something will happen. So it's a loser's game from that perspective. Now, if I'm a guy dating and I meet a gal and I find out that she has an OnlyFans, okay, so here's where the frame part of it, comes into play. If I'm going to consider a gal in my life, and let's say it's a long-term relationship, an LTR, I'm going to want to make sure she's in my frame. I'm going to make sure that she's not doing anything to compromise the relationship. I want to make sure she's not doing anything to embarrass me. I'm Rich Cooper. I wrote the Unplugged Alpha. Imagine if society found out that my girlfriend had an OnlyFans. Could you imagine? That would be absurd. That would be ridiculous, that I would allow something like that. Right. So, I mean, if she has an OnlyFans and she likes it, and I'm a single guy, let's say, and I think she's fun, or maybe she becomes a friends with Ben, I just wouldn't take her seriously. She's just a girl selling pictures of her butthole online. Promiscuity is rampant out there, and women are indulging and men are indulging. And I don't think that's going to change. It seems like that seems to be ramping up. So the angle that I would personally take is date, spin plates, which all that means is just date multiple women simultaneously, non monogamously. And then if I'm open to a long term relationship, which I think most guys are, then you're essentially going to let the cream rise to the top. Wait for her to come to you and say, "Where do we stand, Rich? I dig your vibe. I don't want to share you. I want to claim you," like the standard sort of stuff. And then that's when you can take a look at their life and say, "Well, I like you too, and I've been having a good time, but I'm not going to take a gal seriously that goes out to lunch, every 2 weeks with her ex-boyfriend. I'm not going to take a gal seriously that runs an OnlyFans. I'm not going to take a gal seriously that has, 20,000 followers on her public Instagram and she's continuously posting pictures of herself in a bikini or low cut cleavage or exposing a lot of skin. I'm not interested in that. Right. So, I mean, where are you at with this? Like, is this something that you're taking seriously? Like, is this your life choice? Is this your career to be an OnlyFans model, to be an Instagram influencer, right? Like, is this a real job? Do you make money at it? Sort of thing. These are some of the questions that I would have to ask, right? And,
Mhm.
when you're dating out there and you're dealing with these women, I mean, generally speaking, I don't think that I could look at a woman that's posted pictures of herself naked online, whether they're paid for or not, doesn't matter to me. It's disgusting. And women are valued based on their beauty and their purity. A woman that shared her body with 100 men is less valuable than a woman that shared her body with one man for 12 years because she was in a long-term relationship. You see what I'm saying? So
Mm.
you have to evaluate these things when you're dealing with women in your life, and be, again, fastidious about it, and decisive about the kind of women that you're going to deal with. And if you want to have those options, if you want to have the option to say no to women, which most guys don't, first girl
Yeah.
that touches his pee-pee, he gets all excited and wants to marry her, for
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
most part. But when you have options, when you're a high value guy, when you're doing something else with your life more than just chasing tail, you chase excellence, then you have the opportunity to say, no, thank you. And and then you just let her go. And then you pick better women. And then you choose women that are choosing you, right?
For men that are in that, let's say, top 40% bracket, 50 to 40% bracket, who don't have that much choice, but also like are not that fat, like how do they approach that? Because they may feel like they don't have the confidence to be like, oh, I'm going to have multiple partners, or I'm going to say no. Because like if some girl who's semi
Yeah,
good looking,
historically, like an average guy can't have multiple women.
yeah.
They never have in the past. If you look at men in the past that have run harems of women, like Ishmael the Bloodthirsty is one that I go back to. He was a Moroccan sultan, and I think the Guinness Book of World Records has him on a known record for having the most children. They don't know the exact number, but apparently it's over 1,000. He had multiple wives. He had multiple concubines. He would have eunuchs. He would hire eunuchs. He would make men eunuchs to guard his harem of women, and they were all exclusive with him. And he would just pound out babies. Like that was his thing. Um, if you're going to run multiple women, I mean, if you're going to run a harem, if you're going to be polygynous, for example, you have to have something going on in your life. Like you have to be a high value guy. Women will only share a high value alpha. In fact, women are more apt to share a high value alpha than be straddled with a faithful loser. It's why women would rather date a rich, successful doctor that's married than a broke loser that lives in his mom's basement with a neckbeard, smoking doobs all day, playing video games for a career. They'd rather be with the guy that's done something else with his life, because he also has pre-selection too, because he's got a wife, right? This is how
Mm.
women operate. And this is a uncomfortable truth that bugs a lot of people. When I say these things, there's people watching this or hearing this right now that are getting very upset, like visibly upset. They don't like it. They want to tune out. But you know what? You can be upset about it. It doesn't make it untrue. It's factual.
Mm. Why do you think women chase men with status?
Because status is really important to women, right? I mean, if you go back through history and you set aside all the modern tropes and lies and stories that we've heard about prince, princess, one man, one woman, sort of thing, women in the past have almost always shared men, right? um, we are essentially nomadic hunter gatherers, and we've lived that way for a very long time. I think it's only in the last 6,000 years in modern history where we've indulged in things like cities, communities, markets, trade, stores of value, were considered. For millions of years prior to that, we were nomadic hunter gatherers. And we lived in small tribes that sort of moved around. And the men would go out and hunt, and the women would sort of, gather whatever was around the village and take care of the children. And that's the way things have always operated. And women would be shared amongst the highest value men within that tribe. I mean, like even today, if you go to the Amazon, you go to the Amazon basin deep within, the woods and
Mm.
the forests. These tribes that have had no exposure to modern culture, helicopters, skyscrapers, things like that, things that are completely foreign to them. That's how they still operate today, right? There's still modern version of ancient hunter gatherers where women generally share the highest value alphas in the tribe. It's not always that way, but that seems to be the common way. And like monogamy is very uncommon in the animal kingdom. It's very, very uncommon. It's only become common in humans over the last several thousand years, because it's become enforced. Then you've got religion, then you've got marriage, all
Yeah.
of these things that sort of modify and play on us differently. But we are both polygynous, and we are both somewhat monogamish. I wouldn't say monogamy exists, within humans, because true monogamy as it exists in the animal kingdom, like if you look at birds, for example, that are monogamous, if one of the birds dies, that's it. There's no other bird after that. They just live as a widow, sort of thing. Like that's the way that monogamy operates in the wild. But in humans, We like to claim monogamy, but we're more monogamish because it's one person at a time, right? It's
Hmm.
like, you know, women that will date a bunch of guys or be in relationships, you know, with a bunch of guys. It's always funny because, if a gal's been with 20 guys, let's use an easy light number like that. And then she meets a guy and then he says to her, okay, you know, I dig your vibe sort of thing, whatever. And she wants to claim to be monogamous, right? You know, she wants to be exclusive with him. Well, she's already shared her body with 20 other guys. How is she monogamous? Right? I really hope you guys enjoyed that clip. If you want to watch the full-length podcast, you can find that over here, that clip's from. If you're newer to the channel, make sure you hit subscribe over here. And pinned down below in the top comment, you'll find a bunch of useful links to my website, my supplement line, books, and a bunch of other stuff. Have an amazing day. Peace out.